الشيشة إيادي يكي إخوتستيني ستاك إيهان. Couple things I wanted to share. The first one is ikach gana sisiach to yati ka yaach ink sati ku has dukach yande akwadesh uchoek chish.
Okay, you did the Dísi.
Ach dat at kodziti. The other set achak I watch one was kodakahidi at yahai akshaki.
Yakecha, Gulchish, Hainki Nigi, Yakecha. Asaya, you did for.
To Yesu, ya as today, to wa arch, cost to se.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Yakecha, Gulchish.
Guess I should introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, I just added in this class. Gushte new khatuasak, Kagwantana khatsati, Khunakawe uhan, Kukhittach, Ach ishas shangukedi, Jilkatach, Ach lilk has stuck dentan, Ach dach nuku, tak dentan, Hucha, Kunchisha.
Okay, Gulchish. So, yeah, you did.
Khataya. Kwani has yach khat awa us. Shakte suye wush kanach ke gach to the at.
Gulchish, Hainki Nigi.
Katsewa at.
Guayahun, Gulchish.
Yeah, yeah. You sitini kat yuhan. Ach gukai ach jiwu. Chayo ka tuk ka ach chayo. Chiake shugu tuk quasitin. Shugu ya tak. Rustish.
Okay, Gulchish. So, you did for.
Khat aya yiktitu you khatuasak ach kate klingit tu at iltu. I probably didn't say that very well. My dog is studying Tlingit because he's in my lap.
Yakecha, Gulchish.
Hoot.
Yakei Kate. Yakecha. So, yeah, you did.
Ach tu asigu
yak Kasiyéiyi.
Okay. Kunnel cheese. Idetwa Hadusa.
Llygad ge ach cove yannigan lleidwsiw iac ich
Ah. Nishan.
ge.
Ah. Okay. Achtu yake dan. Dusa uyach. Neski age. Takunia.
Ohio Aldi Kwa Hatike Gamstish.
Yake. Cheese. Naskinacha uyach. Tlech 8.
Tellwasa. Tell ach Tóowu Ulchin.
Oh. Goyach one. Hujaga. Wasach tu yake yich et chosa achi. Ya yaki. Ya ga qone aya. Eka atqachtle yech ya hayuk atangi. Ye o achtuati. Qone aya. Ya kanadini. Ya hayuk atangi qinach. Aqawe gwall. Itundetani tin. Chushuk atangi tin yuqakwatan. Chushuk atangi tin yuqakwatan. Ye awa wan qanins. Chu ya hatu wasagu. Hinta degachtu art. Artak Ako hin ya khaya ja atwutu ati. Sa ati aya wehin. Jan khoa tu chitzina akach. Achchawe wujin. Chuya wujin tu shat. Aka awe wujin aya. Hinta degachtu art. Ye awa hatuati. Kedena ya kagachtu chak. Ya hayukatangi. Chushtut. Ye awa adeshtu dultu ya. Hatuati aya. Shingit qinach ay kagachtu laati. Yaga khunach oy khatlitsin. Heldasa ayach kuge hayukatangi. Ajoech tuasagu. Kagachtu ach oy. Hayukatangi tin. Wujin yukatul atki. Yadayach. Khushiach. Wasa aya. Datiksawi yukatangi. Katu aq. An owa. Yagachtitlaq. Ya hayukatangi. Wan qalins. Achtundetani yeti. Yak klinik di owa ohan. Acha owa. Hajiwu. Kesh qoneko atucha. Just kliek ya hayati achatin. Ginde naitsui achai Johan. Qone wujin agachtucha. Ya hashagun hastu itr. Yewe achtuati. Tashachtoashko ach kail khik iqhoa. Hesh wasaka kwati. Wasaka gachia aq. Ya hayukatangi. Widachit. Qawi. Yayagi. Yel khayash kashnigi. Dadu. Yejagachtune. Qa dasawe. Ya hayukatang. Atuk aye. Ajishaguni. Ye o achtuatitsu. Yi in kachonigi. Yachsakai. Yende ya naidlak Johan. Qonea ya. Qeqa. tuyeti, de tuyeti, o yukatangi honeko ayakanadin. Wanani suwe shilti dana ya kone yukakitan. Dewe achtuch lachish ya idat galchish. Thank you everyone for sharing language. I'd like us to shift now. Like classes would start, I would start speaking, and then I just ask you folks to translate it. So now I'm going to shift and say, okay, we got to do a round of talking first, and then I'll talk. That way you're going to get used to talking. Because I think sometimes the way I think of it, it's like we're all in a big canoe. We all have a paddle, but then we're just sitting there, right? And then, but this is, you know, with the danger of a language class when it starts to get to this level is that you just end up talking to people about language the whole time. So now we've got to Yinde Naitsu, put your paddles deep in the water. Yinde Naitsu yi achai. It comes from Kachachguk. He said, put your paddles, dig them deep in the water. And sometimes the other metaphor I was thinking of is sometimes like we're going to go in the icy water for strength, but our water's cold. That good courage is in there though. But sometimes we're just sort of walking around on the shore, walking. But we want to get down to the bottom of that lake, even like you're not going to drown. So it's a dangerous metaphor because I'm sure the English side of your brain's like, I do it. We're going to drown. This is all over, right? That English side of your brain, once you start fully going over to Tlingit, I do believe it gets terrorized. Like decolonization is probably like, looks like murder to the colonized brain, right? But it's not, it's okay. You can have 2 and even more languages fully nested. And to make this move from memorization to language construction, right? So you can be an active speaker and learner. And you can go into like whole areas like, you know, I remember this one friend, I was like, I never talked trash about basketball teams in Tlingit before. So I just went ahead and tried it. And then he took a second and he realized what I was doing. And we started talking trash, you know, about which teams are the best or whatever. And so I want you to be able to take the language into new realms. And when other people are taking it into realms that you're not familiar with, that you're able to function. But there's a lot of pieces there, right? There's a lot of pieces. And so we're starting to look at those things, and it's not the right time to panic. But, you know, sometimes I think it's going to come in waves too, because language learning is so interesting to me because it starts out very linear. This is called that. This is called that. This is called that. It's how you say this. It's how you say that. But at some point, your brain you can't just be like a, you know, like those birds that can talk. Like some of them can talk, but some of them all they can do is just repeat some stuff back. I think this one elder, she had a bird that could talk because I don't know, this guy's name was, let's just say his name was Harry, right? I can't remember what his name was, but she had like a really neat bird. And it was one of those birds that could talk, like I don't know what it was, one of those bigger birds that could talk. And so this guy named Harry came over and he's like, oh, what a cute bird. Polly want a cracker? Polly want a cracker? And he said, F you, Harry, but it like said the full on like sentence, you know. So like I don't want you to be telling people off like that, but you know, I want us to be language constructors. And so when we say we're going to use our language. It's a really important transition. And it's a really fun time for me to see a group of people that are moving into the language production zone. And so I get really excited by these thoughts of this stuff about how we keep going and keep going. But then every now and then I just want to do a check-in as well and just tell you to have courage because you're already succeeding. Because when it moves from not being linear anymore, and it's like, I remember one time I was in this astronomy class at the University of Minnesota in the mid-1990s. And they said, we got a computer over there. It's the size of a building. It could do all kinds. It's probably like as fancy as this thing is right now, right? But it was fancy at the time, right? Whole buildings. It's a supercomputer. There's only 10 supercomputers in the world. And they said, we had these scientists and programmers, and they worked on this thing for like 3 years. So they could show you a model of what the universe looks like if it's expanding in every direction simultaneously. And we want to show you. And they showed it, and it was just like these green dots that just went. It was like the shortest thing I'd ever seen, right? And I was just like, they hyped it up, and I'm sure it was amazing, right? Especially for that technology at the time. But I remember how much they hyped it up, and then when it went, I was just like, yeah, but in my mind, I was just like, boo, right? But but the thing with language learning, I think, when it all starts expanding simultaneously at that same time, right? Like you're learning new words continuously. Oh, that's what that thing's called. That's what that thing's called, right? Chipmunk, gray jay. And when you start moving beyond like the animals and stuff that are not here but are in other parts of Lingi country, or like a muskrat and stuff. But then you're also starting to learn how to describe things, right? Can you say it's furry? Can you say it's brown? Can you say like it scratches at the trees, right? And then we want to start getting descriptive with language. And we're going to do some exercises to show you how to do that. And we'll do some little games as well, which maybe, so I don't forget. Here's what I want you to do. Here is your homework for the weekend. Okay, you ready? I want you to think of an animal that is in Tlingit Ani. So it's Tlingit Tlatki. It's in Tlingit country. That's pretty expansive. That includes inland. So it could be mountain sheep, could be a chipmunk. You're going to stump people if you have like some of these. But I want you to find an animal that is in, it could be a land animal, sea animal, bird. Sky's the limit. And I would like you to come up with 4 descriptive sentences of that animal. You are not, when we get together on Tuesday, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go one at a time and share our 4 sentences. And we're all going to try to guess what animal you're telling us. Okay? So what I would like you to do as well is not do the most obvious ones first. So like if it's a beaver, don't be like 2 big teeth. Or if it's like a rabbit, these 2 big ears. Like make that sentence number 4. But I want you to think about what it looks like, what it does, what we know about it, where it lives, where it eats, those types of things. Because this is also a fun phase of language learning when we move from just like naming things and what they do, to now saying like, could you tell, like if we both spoke Tlingit and had no idea what a zisk was, a moose, and I said, what's it look like? Tell me. Could you tell? Like, I want you to be able to do this stuff. This is some next level stuff. And if you're stumped, send me an email. And don't think like you have to describe it. Don't go crazy with it, because we did this exercise one time in Carcross, and we had this wonderful speaker. She was such an incredible storyteller. But their little one was a chipmunk, because they have chipmunks up there. We don't have them on the coast. It's called Kasiyéiyi. And she said, so she said, okay, what is this? Just chayegu gink hastu jin. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say cha. Just yegu gink hastu jin. There it is. Yegu gink hastu jin.
It has tiny hands.
It has tiny hands. Ja'an qo'a hasqudzati. Do we know what ja'an is? It is nevertheless. Okay, so you say qo'a is like although, but ja'an qo'a means despite that, right? Ja'an qo'a. Hasqudzati. What's that? Hasqudzati. What's qudzati?
We're from.
Not really from, like qudzati.
Born, survive.
Born would be kudziti,
Oh,
and then kudziti. So if you were born, that was like in the perfective, and then right now you exist.
Exist.
Ja'an ko'a has kudziti. Nevertheless, they exist. Achoe an hasacha. Do we know what achoe is?
Because
Because of that, or because of the and then on is a contraction of in, which is with it, hasacha. Or I guess you could say hasatcha. Sorry, hasatcha. Made a mistake. They eat. So ye kukenko hasjujin. Ja'an ko haskutzati. Ajoe an hasatcha. They have tiny hands, but nevertheless they still exist because they eat with them. It was such a cute sentence. It was an amazing, like, cute sentence. But it was like so over the, like, I was like, that was beautiful, but could we do like little tiny sentences? Because we're just trying to, like, she took us to the PhD level because she was fun. We're gonna do these other exercises in a little bit where we look at pictures and we just invent a story for it. I like to use these things. They were developed by linguists actually to do what's called language elicitation. Like, for example, if you have a theory of how a language works, like I think when you're talking about doubt in Tlingit, gouache and couché are different things, right? So, and you might say, I hear them say gouache and I hear them say couché, but I think they're different things. So you might come up with a story, and then you have the elders and you tell them the story in English, and you have the elders translate it, but it's all coming up to like, well, it might be that one, but it might be that one, but I'm not sure if it's that one, right? And then you have them translate stuff like that. So it's used to elicit sort of phenomena in a language, but I like to use them to invent silly stories because they're kind of fun little things. So again, to recap, what you're going to do between now and Tuesday is, and I got to open something up too because we got to have a little bit of fun, is you're going to think of an animal that exists on Tlingit land, and then you are going to come up with 4 descriptive sentences that you will share with us one at a time on Tuesdays. How class will start on Tuesday. We'll all take turns sharing our 4 sentences, and then we will all try to guess what animal you're talking about. So this is the next level stuff. We used to do things like see how many we could name, and we just name a whole bunch of birds, right? We can still do that kind of stuff. But now I'm like, tell me what they look like. Tell me what they do. Tell me what they eat. Tell me where they live. Tell me what we know about them. It's a fun exercise because you're going to find yourself, and we'll look at it. We'll look at a slideshow that gives us some examples of what to do with this stuff. Maybe we'll do that right now. Let's see. I have this under though.
Khune,
Huh.
are you saying so don't name the animal in Tlingit?
Yes, we are
Okay.
supposed to guess it
So it's like,
by you telling us these descriptions.
okay.
So it's a nice, it's a different way to go about it because we're listening to you describe something and then we're trying to think of what it is. But your 3rd and 4th sentences should pretty much tell us what it is because some people, they get really, your job is not to stump us. Your job is to have some fun describing something and to help us to figure out what it might be. Okay, I might have to look for it on the break. I can't remember where I put it. I've got like a slideshow that talks about describing things in Tlingit. Guksakwa. Okay. Well, I'll look for it. Okay. So let me check the chat.
Before we get too far off, can I go back and ask you how to spell or how to say again once more? You said Yinde Naitsu, Yinde Naitsu, or something like that, but I missed it quickly as it was going through, and I wanted to. That sounded like an awesome phrase, and I wanted to capture it.
Yinde Naitsu Yachai. So this is dig your paddles down deep. Let me check the tone. Is that high? Might be low. Let me go. Let's go to the source. We'll find it. There it is. Okay. So here's the Kakachguk story. This comes from Hashuka. And so at this point in the story, they are pushed way out to sea. There's a lot to this story, but they're hunting fur seals. And there's some weird things that happen. One of the weird things is when they paddle out. So when you hunt fur seals, it's way different. It's different than hunting harbor seals. So the old school method of hunting fur seals is you wait till there's pretty rough water. Not so rough that you're gonna like capsize in your canoe, but you gotta have some pretty good sized waves. Then you go out there to where they like to live, and then you chase them into the waves. And then they've got to run from you, and they're hitting these waves, and you're going over these waves, and they tire themselves out. And then you spear them, right? That's the way you did them back then. So when he went out to this place where they would hunt these khun, he could hear them talking. Ja, ja, so he heard, he's like, why do I hear them? Why do I hear Shinket? And they're saying, be quiet, here comes Kakachguk. And then when he threw his spears, he was a really good hunter, but when he threw his spears, he'd always miss them. So they went back, and he was mad, and he broke all his spears up and made new ones. And he went back out there, and then this huge storm hit them, and they paddled as hard as they could. And this is the part where they're paddling really hard, but they keep getting pushed out to sea. So this is when he's talking to them. And so this is Kak and the Woods, which is he's always asking people, are you still paddling out? Are you still going by boat out ahead of it? Wait, what am I looking for here? So he says, Yigo ayach nach kehas, Yigo ayach. Be of brave heart, my nephews, be of brave heart. Kach yinde naitsu yi achayi. And so this kach is very, naitsu, or yinde is downwards, naitsu is to move stick-like objects, yi is y'all's, and then acha is a paddle. So this is where that phrase comes from. Kach yinde naitsu yi achayi. And I like to use, because like he's telling them, like, just keep trying. Even this thing, maybe there's no way we can get out of this storm. We got to keep trying. And so and they don't. They get drifted way out to sea. They all get so scared, and the storm is so wild that they just cover their canoe in hides, and then they all just pass out. And they woke up in, it was probably Hawaii. They spent a year down there. Lived off the foods that were there. Nobody lived there at that time. And then he So he would really watch the stars every night, just watch the stars. And then by watching the stars, he predicted how he could get back to Sitka. They're from Sitka. So then they load up with all this food, and they've got a device to make fresh water. And then they go. They paddle back to, they're trying to find Sitka. And then he says, look at that bird. Keitlet eo to Satin. Adeaya keitlet the itchne kuch. He says, follow that seagull. There's a seagull. Follow that seagull. Ande haskruchte. Ande has kanashich. They always go towards the land. And so they followed it. And as they got closer, they saw it wasn't a seagull. It was Mount Edgecombe. So they knew they had made it back home. And so it's an amazing story. It's there's songs that go with it. It's also a story that was traded. The song itself, it's a Kiksadi story, but the song was also traded to the Daishitan. The Daishitans sing it. And there's a film that they made a couple years ago, maybe last year, I don't know, up in the interior, where they talked about, there's an elder named Tlaustla Ida Kalmigan. Her mother was Angela Sidney, and her mother spoke both Tlingit and Tagish. And it was her brother, I believe, who was in World War II. And so when he was coming home, they sang the Kalkachguk song. It was a really beautiful film. It was all about like him going over to war and coming back and them singing this song. Other thoughts or questions? Things you've been thinking about, language stuff, puzzles?
I have some more puzzles and things that I've been thinking about, but we don't have to dig into it. If I can mention it and you can decide.
All right.
And it might be fun for everybody at some point if you're interested, if anybody else is interested. I found a old Operation game at the thrift store where you pick out the little buzzer thing with a guy with the red nose, and you pick out the little broken heart and the little, the rubber band thing and everything else, and you get zapped if you touch the corners. And I was thinking, gosh, this would be kind of and I was looking at it, and I said, you know what, maybe we can turn this into like a Think It learning game. And so I bought it, and I've been trying to turn these cards. When you pick a card, it says, pick out the broken heart from this place, from the chest, or pick out the whatever from the leg, or pick something out from the elbow, and all these other kind of things. So anyway, I've been trying to translate the thing that you pull out of the body and coming from the body part that it's coming out of, so that students or anybody can kind of play it and sing it. And then you're learning two things. You're learning at least two things anyway, the thing that you're pulling out, and then a new body part maybe. And then some fun phrases I was thinking to think of come up, and like, you got zapped, or like electrocuted, or be careful, or do it steadily, or it's like a little tweezer thing. So use the tweezers carefully or slowly, or encouraging things that somebody might say, or I don't know, and kind of come up with this little list and thing. And then I have the cards that you can add little names on, and I'm going to type them up and put them on a sheet so somebody could print them off that fit the cards, and then just cut them off. You can just cut them and then kind of tape them on or glue them onto the actual cards, so that somebody could clinketize their game in a fun way, and then use it for learning. So anyway, that's something I mentioned. If you want to get into it, I've tried some phrases of translating them, but I'm not sure I have them 100% right. So at some point it would be fun or it'd be helpful, I guess, to get some help and see if I'm on the right track for translating these things correctly or not.
Let's go.
Okay. let's see. Well, I actually have, am I able to share? Yeah, I am. Okay, so let me pull this up then real quick. I put together this little, and we can see if it makes sense. And once I get it together, I can send it out and share it with everybody so that if you're interested in learning this thing, or I mean, changing an operation game into a think it thingamajig, then do it. But let me find it here real quick. Sorry.
I think it's a lot of fun, yes, Shadi. One, Operation was one of my favorite games growing up. And two, when I began to think it from S'eek, how she had us learn numbers is that she brought in Sorry, but she named it Ishan and had us do it all and think it.
Yeah.
Enjoyed that.
Yes. Okay, so I'm not sure if this shared. Did this share? Okay. Okay, so one thing that I think I found so instead of the word operation, what I found in the dictionaries and stuff for something that could be like operation is the word Nasné. And I don't know if that's the correct maybe word to use for operation, but it's what I think might be close. So I guess if anybody has any thoughts on that first word, I guess, just to change it.
Okay.
We can think about that. Let's see, how do I switch? Okay. Oh, here it is. So not say it is to what I found is it would be to operate, and this could also mean to, let's see, and this is from the dictionary, to skin or to cut or to operate is what it says in the book, or to flay, to operate on or cut carefully. So that's a word that I think might fit, maybe operate.
Okay.
So actually, let's see. I'm going to jump ahead to, I have the cards, and I think that might be the quickest way to go. Let's see if. Okay, the following are the cards with the instructions on it. So there is a card that when you pick it up, it says Adam's apple. And instead of Adam's apple, and so basically you're taking the Adam's apple out of the neck, I guess, and it shows like it's kind of like right around like your voice box area, I guess, or your sa. So which is giving them the instructions to, I think, take out the apple out of the sa or the voice box area. Does that sound correctish?
I would say
would you recommend?
Say to dach, maybe. Or say dach.
For the for this spot here, okay. Say dach.
Yeah, it's se is the name of the body part, and then so if you put a high tone, it's a short high vowel. So if you put something on it, it would go long and low. So you say dach. And then it's saying it's in there. Is that what the card is saying? Like it is in there?
Well, it's saying something a little different, and I'm kind of editing it out. Let's see if I can find the card. So the card says actually Adam's apple. Sam's scarf was tied too tight. Now his Adam apple isn't feeling quite right. And that's all it says on the card. But basically, the instructions are for you to take the Adam's apple out of the neck area.
Uh-huh.
So rather than translating all of this into like your scarf is too tight and he's not feeling quite right. I guess I could do all of that. But basically the instruction more so is like, now it's your turn to take the apple out of the throat area,
I would say shape.
which is where it's located on the machine.
Even though it does probably look like it's at the base of the neck, we're just going to position it in the neck, which is where an Adam's apple typically is. So yeah, let's go. But I guess the big thing is like, I think we should just make it a command, which would say, take it out of the neck.
Okay.
Du lle tu dach ye nasné. I guess I would generally say ye nasné, which would be like do it. It's going to make it a little bit simpler because you're going to get around using motion verbs. But you can also say, let me check this S'eek verb real quick. And I'll put this stuff in the chat too. So, let's see. Get it out of their throat. Get the apple out of their throat.
Okay. For some reason, I can't see the chat.
Oh, because you're in full screen?
Oh, there.
But I think you also sent this to me, right?
Yeah, I did. Actually, I think I did. Yeah. So let's see. I just copied and pasted here. So does that look right there? Kaktu, Shatu, Ye, Ye. And that is like that's more of a command. So that's like take the apple out of the throat area.
Take the apple out of the throat. Yeah, and throat would be fine. That's how they say it in Hawaii.
Throat.
Punch you in the throat.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so the next one is writer's cramp on the card. And writer's cramp is the whole thing it says is like writer's cramp. Sam has a cramp right in his wrist from writing out a very long grocery list.
Yeah, so they do these neat rhymey things, and so I think what we could end up doing is there's a something in the something, take the something out of the something. Right? Because it's operation is not intended to teach English. It's intended to just have a clever little thing so that, it's got these little rhymey things, which is fun and fine, but we could probably do something different. So I would say kuhida dujika tu yeyeti. So I guess our first thing would be item do body part to yeyeti. So that first one would say there's a something in his something. And then you would say item do body part, but then you're going to have dach ye nasné. Take it out of that body part. I think that could be our structure. We could have a 2-sentence structure. It's a lot more simplified, but it's just this is what we're trying to do, right?
Right.
You teach these phrases, and then you eventually take, maybe the card is just maybe eventually there's a card that's just a picture of the thing, and then you try and say, okay.
I'm not sure I understand.
So you'd say Chach du Tuch Yeyeti. And then that would say there's an apple in his throat. Chach du Tuch Yenasne. Take the apple out of his throat. Kuhida du Jika tu Yeyeti. Kuhida du Jika Tutch. Oh, well, let's just put Tutch after all of them. Tutch Yenasne. So that's going to be, take it out from the inside of it.
Take it out from the inside.
So is the X at the end kind of short for duh?
It is. So if dach goes on to a vowel, it can just become TX underline. That's why you could say kudach or kutch. Those are the same thing. So now that you got the pattern, all you need is all the right names, right? That's what I'd recommend for the pattern.
Right, that makes sense. I think that, yeah. And I was thinking about putting a picture on the card, but then part of it was for them to read the card and then figure out what that item is and where the location is without a picture. So the picture would give it away, you wouldn't have to.
And no English on the card too, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, kuhida. Okay, sauknin in the belly. I would say sauknin du chut. Oh, okay.
And this has a weird one too. I mean, they're all weird. Every one of them is a little weird. We don't have to match what the card says. This one is bread basket. Sam's bread basket has been giving him fits ever since he ate that giant sandwich. That was a hard rhyme. But
Are they talking about like a paunch? Is that what that one is? Because butterflies are in the stomach, right?
yeah, and that's where the bread box is in the it's coming. I mean, the bread box is coming out of the stomach for the suck vein, but butterfly is another one for butterfly.
So I guess that's not really in his stomach though, right? This is saying like this is a big, it's a protruding belly. Is that right?
I think it's like giving him indigestion.
Oh, okay. I guess we just got to figure out where it's gonna be. Okay, so like if
Let me look on the game here real quick. Because there's two places in the stomach kind of area, and so what my thought was is to use two different body part locations since they're kind of near. There's butterflies in the stomach area.
It's like his colon.
a nas. Let's put it in this.
There's butterflies in his stomach area, and there's a bread box in his like underneath his belly button area.
Bread's the intestines in. Right? We don't want to. This we came up with a name for stuffing one time, and yeah, you probably shouldn't talk about food like that the way that we came up with that name. So we settled on shaqait hatli, which is snot nose crap. So, but I think you could say do nasi tu. So here's another suggestion. You could say do tu yeyeti. And I'd probably recommend saying that one because tu yeyeti is something that we do hear quite a bit. You could also say Tóowu. So you could say Saknain dunasi Tóowu. I do think that's less common though.
Mhm.
So I'd recommend Saknain dunasi Tuyeyeti. The bread is in his intestines. Oh, he's got a broken heart.
Yeah, the next one is a broken heart. And this one's kind of in his chest area. So again, I don't know if any of these, I mean, the card says broken heart. Tell Sam there are plenty of fish in the sea. Fix that broken heart and earn some good money.
Wait, he's just going to become a gigolo?
So,
Why is he earning money? It's like I was just saying, just go to work and don't worry about love. I don't care. Okay, I guess. Okay, we got a philosophical decision to make. Instead of tu yeyati, we could say yik yeyati because a lot of these are going to be yik anyway. So I would say du kawu watli teich du wu yik yeyati. You can also say yigu if you want to just really make people go crazy. But I would still say yik yeyati. Or we could just go tu yeyati, and then later we could teach them that things in your body are usually yik. I guess I would still say tu yeyati. I don't know. You get to decide. But kawawatli, if you put the kawawat in front of teich, put an I after it, that's broken heart. Kawawatli teich. And that little suffix, especially on some sort of something that's more or less a state verb, turns it into an adjective. Kawawatli teich, broken heart. Ach, kawawatli teich. Do wu. I guess I'm still recommending tu yeyati, just because it's more common. Oh, no, I would say do kawa watli teich. I'd still say name the thing first. Do wu tu yeyati.
woo.
That's a fun one. Do kawa watli teich. No, the do wu should go after the item.
Oh, all right. That's what I thought. Yeah.
And then tlishuku tzak to ti to yeyati. And so then you can also go through and add those later, which would be tutr ye nasné, if you wanted the command for how to get it out of there. Charlie horse. Oh, that's a okay.
Charlie horse card. Yeah.
Is it an actual horse?
It's an actual little horse. Yeah, it's an actual like little mini horse that you pull out of there, and it's called a Charlie horse. In Sam's leg, there's a Charlie horse named Charlie. Lure him out with some oats and barley.
I think we could just leave off the name. It could just be a horse. There's no reason to keep in the name.
No, I think that's true. Yeah. So I was just thinking more of just like just a horse instead of a Charlie horse. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's the name. Oh, ribs? Did I skip that one?
Well, woman, speaking of gang rib names, going back to the funny bone, is there anything funny about the shape or is it just a bone?
The bone.
I think in the photo it's just a little bone, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing funny about it now. Because
Just-
it's bone. Because or else it's gonna get confusing, right?
Exactly, because I really like how this is teaching two nouns
Mhm.
at the time in a pattern. If you throw a descriptive in front of it, it's going to throw a beginning learner off.
Yeah, because this is fun, but our whole thing is just like simple language so that you can identify what the things are doing. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Gaudan duqats tuyeti. Khadalehi duqut tuyeti. You could go kleishe, which is the more common name for a butterfly.
Okay.
Nora
Yeah.
also told me that was a moth, but other
Say-
speakers told me it's a butterfly. Khadalehi comes from Ruth Demert. She told me that name. But there's multiple names for different butterflies, but I think kleishe would be the most recognizable one.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Spare rib.
Tsuk.
No, it's called a spare rib, but I think it's just rib, probably, or
Another thing you could add on Yashyadi to help teach us is that there's templates of all the Operation Game pieces that you can print out. So you could put the Shinket word onto the pieces. So like paper cutout, so you could teach them and play with those and then take them away and then play the game.
Yeah, right. That's a good idea.
Or teach us and then bring the game in and play with us.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be I think that's gonna be do kick. That's a complex body part.
For the rib.
Well, just that the
Oh,
side of the body, because takha is side,
yeah.
but it actually means like right here, the space next to my body. This would be a kick.
Okay. I see what you mean.
Mhm.
I was trying to find again, like some of the pieces are in similar kind of locations. So I was trying to find a different body part area so that you're learning that one extra body part. But
Yeah, takha is not a body part.
yeah, right.
It means this area next to me.
Okay.
So ditsuk to kick to yeyeti. To glee. So there's a muscle in the calf. Do you pull a muscle out of there?
You pull out a rubber band that's pinched on these two little things, and it's acting like a muscle, but it's in the calf. It's in the calf. So you pull the rubber band, mimicking a muscle out of the calf area.
What is that gonna be?
And so these are the words I found for muscle and calf area, or the calf. I
Not to get pedantic, but that kind of mimics a tendon more than a muscle.
So you could say do teat, do sayu, to yeyeti. So his tendon is in his calf. It is the calf, right?
Yeah. Tendon.
Okay, we got to pause this operation. We'll take a 5-minute break, and we'll come back and we'll finish the procedure.
Yeah, there's only a few cards left, so I think we're close.
Okay.
Before everyone's scrambles, can we pause the recording and can make an announcement? Can you make an announcement off the record?
Well, so in order to properly continue this operation, since we had a break, we should go over the 2 ways to say, as a command, wash your hands. What are the 2 ways to say wash your hands?
Ijina'us.
That is one way. Everybody know the other way? You need to ooze. So one has ijin, and then you could substitute any body part you want in there. Iuchnauz, iyannauz, ituchnauz, whatever you want them to wash. But this has it built in as a prefix. And if you do that, then the classifier goes plus D. So you could say yanitauz, you could say uchnidauz, you could say tuchinidauz, which is getting very literal in terms of what you're washing there. But anyways, that's funny. So let's get back to business. Dr. Yekliadi, we have to get through this surgery. Where do we leave off?
Let's see. I think it was. Sorry. Let's see. Pulled muscle. I think we're doing pulled muscle.
No, we did that one with the tendon and the calf.
One is a water pail.
Kishan.
Water pail in this knee.
Kisha duki tuyeti. There's a bucket in there.
Bucket.
You made it simple. Bucket. Does it look like a bucket?
Yeah, it does. Looks like a little water pail bucket. Yep, it's like a little bucket with a handle.
We'll just say it's a bucket.
And
there's a wishbone.
This is a wishbone, and it looks like an actual, like a wishbone that you get at Thanksgiving, and you kind of pull a thing apart. So I didn't know what to say about this one because this is what I found maybe for wishing and a bone and putting the 2 together, which I don't know how to say wishbone.
Is that a bone that only a bird has? I have no idea.
I don't know.
In people, is the equivalent like a clavicle?
It is.
Is it?
Maybe. I don't know.
How do you spell that?
I don't know either.
Okay.
It would actually be the 2 clavicles in a human.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Well, can we just okay?
And a little bit of sternum, maybe.
Ooh.
Maybe.
Is that what you did? You just breaking that thing?
Well, it's connected with, I think, cartilage in a human, but you're really making me go back to what, 10 years ago, pre-medical studies. When did I, like, a long time ago, a decade or so?
Wow.
E&P was a while ago.
Is there another name for the clavicle?
Collarbone.
Okay.
The thing that people often break and you see their arms in a sling and it's not actually their arm broken. It's because they broke their collarbone.
And where is it now? For on the person?
In the game, it's like on their kind of in their sternum area, like at the base of their sternum. It's where the location is that you're taking it out of the person for the game.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Sayat Aktaki. That's that's a collarbone. Sayat Ak is the name of the little dent that is there around your collarbone, I guess.
Cheta. And the cheta is at the sternum. Was that the one that I had on there, or did you change it?
I think that's the one that was on there.
Sternum, okay. I looked up sternum, and that's what I found.
Yeah, that's that flat part of the chest, that middle part. Okay.
Now this one I had a hard time with because this is looking for a wrench, and there's lots of different wrenches in the dictionary, and it definitions for it, and one of them is like to turn a screw and to tighten, there's all different descriptions. So I think this one may be more of like what kind of a wrench it's looking like, maybe is like
Does it look like a plumber wrench?
it's like an two open ended wrenches. I mean, two open ended, and they don't pinch. They're just fixed. So they're just two. That's what it is in the game. Is like it's an open ended wrench on two sides.
Oh, it looks like a little bone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't know which one to go with, or what could you even call that? And I don't know.
I would call that. Well, it twists it, but then that's already taken by the screwdriver.
Yeah.
So I would probably say.
And to me, it seems like this one is more of a squeeze. It squeezes. I mean, the way that it is, it kind of goes in, and it doesn't actually squeeze, but it goes around the bolt in a squeezing way. So that's why.
It's called an open-ended wrench.
Yeah.
Like the technical name for it, I don't know what that is in the dictionary, but if you wanted to go buy it at Home Depot or like AIH, it's called an open-ended wrench.
Right, exactly.
They come in various sizes.
Okay. Well, let's go with. It has a little different in Lear's note, so let's just go with that. Kasiyéiyi. And this is in the ankle?
Let's see. Yeah, it's in the ankle. Yep.
Shutuk is fine. There's, I think, Shakuntli is another one. Or no. What are those two for ankle? Like, hold on. Yeah, Shutuk. That's good. I think technically there's a name for the outer ankle and the inner ankle. we need to worry about that.
And then, so just to clarify, if we go back to this, this is, I copied this out of the out of the chat that you put in there. Initially you put in the item, and the body part, to Yayati, and I think we have that. And then the other part, I think you changed, you had two phrases here, I think, and I was just confused on which you were ending up with for, like, and this you were saying this is more like the command part of it, right?
Yeah. So what I would do is just erase dach and then put tutch as its own word right before Nasné. So it's just kind of a little bit generically saying, take it out of there. Oh, we got them all.
Yeah, that was all the cars. And if you don't mind, one of the things I was thinking that I was trying to come up with is like words of encouragement, or things like that happens, so that somebody can say, oh, you got shocked, or you didn't get shocked, or things like that. So, and the actual things. So this is what I found for tweezers. Does this sound familiar to you, or would be okay? Because you're using these little tweezers.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, this one here. To move carefully and slowly. If you were to say, if somebody were to say this to you, to, like, be careful, I guess, and not to hit the edges.
I would simplify it. I'd say kadeni nasne. Do it carefully. And then I would also say kashtake nachi nasne. Do it slowly. I would just add those two. I wouldn't introduce this other verb.
Kadain, let's say. Is that what you said?
Kadain yenasne. Where is this one? Up near the...
This is slide 22.
So yeah, I would focus on introducing an adverb rather than introducing a new verb. And then we can also do slowly. Oh, and then you were looking for...
Tweezers. Okay. He or she or it got shocked.
Kautle shook.
You got shocked. Okay. Shook.
And then... Yeah, had kautle shook. Klechat kawul shuk. Yep, and klech ikawul shuk. Was that me, the anonymous bat?
I think so. And then if you or anybody else could think of any other phrases that could be built into this, that people could learn while playing this game, that might be relevant. We could add in a few more if anybody else has any encouraging words or phrases that somebody can learn while playing this game.
Yak gitlak.
All right.
You're gonna get it. Not like you're gonna get it. It's like you're gonna obtain it. You're gonna succeed.
There's a playing cards video that Kune has on his YouTube that has some phrases that might be useful, like it's your turn or you next. Depending on the age that you're doing it with, some kids don't get it. That when you get buzzed that your turn's over. Your turn's over, that you can't keep going.
Which way? What? You're
Okay.
done. It's over for you. Kasiyéiyi. You didn't do it carefully. I guess that goes on the trash talking slide. Yeah, one of those. Oh yeah, Kanaak. What else? Oh, I know. Let's see. Should take.
Right, okay. So on the very front of the box, it says Operation Make Him Better or Get the Buzzer. I was thinking of just changing that phrase into think it and photoshopping it on and think it on the name of the title of Make Him Better or Get the Buzzer, which I guess would be like get electrocuted. Is in our sense, in our case, it's more like being electrocuted or shocked.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna have to say.
That's kind of what the phrase would, or the word would be, or the phrase would be, and the one that we're using is kind of being shocked.
So we were going over this kind of the other night, and we've been going over this a lot in intermediate Tlingit. So like the way that English works is not the same way that Tlingit works. So you have an or statement here, right? And Tlingit would not use an or statement for this. It would be so that you don't. That's what Tlingit would end up with, which is going to be tricky. I think you would end up with, I don't know what, this is one where I don't know what, okay. This is one I don't know what the stem is going to be. So it should be Kasiyéiyi. But this is okay. If you don't save, if you don't heal him, you will get shocked. So I guess we'll probably simplify it, because so that you don't get shocked would be something like ikawushukka. Qasanekh ikawushukka would be my guess. There is a form here, like so it doesn't happen, and it's a little bit complicated. You get what we call the irialis. It's a U sound in the front. You get the conjugation prefix, which is going to be 0, na, ga, or qa. And then you get a suffix on the end, which is qa, which is the opposite of the tone before it. So for example, cha'adeye unatiqa. So it doesn't end up that way. Ukhke utiqa, so that it doesn't get out of control. It's not the most common thing. It's a pretty advanced thing. So I would say you will save him or you'll get shocked, I guess. Clash. Yay. So it's S'eek. Clash. S'eek kawashukka. I guess maybe we'll go with that. Heal him so you don't get shocked. Lest you get shocked, I guess. I'll have to think about that one.
Tricky. That's interesting. There's no or really.
I mean, there is, but it's more like, do you want coffee or tea? That's how that one usually works, right? But this one, like, you could do something like, Kasiyéiyi gwash. This one's gonna be hard too. Gwash. Ikuchlishuk. If you don't save him, you might get shocked. That's getting complicated though. I guess you could just say, okay, let's just put 2 commands up there. Let's say
Something that make him better, and then just don't get shocked, I guess, is maybe the 2 that you're thinking of, or
yeah. It's gonna end up being long. I don't know. Heal him. You don't want to get shocked. I mean, I guess you could put 2 futures in there. You will heal him or you will get shocked. Interesting. Okay. Any other thoughts, questions?
I was thinking not necessarily to teach for the students to learn, but maybe some interjections for the teacher to have to react to the students, like ouch or like oh my.
Achadi.
Exactly, like that. Because I remember when I played this in school, like my teacher would like when we first got shocked, like playing this really little in preschool, would say like ouch or like oh my and like things like that.
Yeah, the way that people said ow a long time ago is whoo. That's what they did. There's even a verse saying whoo.
Right, and then that's the way that you would also be teaching the kids how to use the interjections, because that's kind of how we learn, is watching other people use them on us when reacting to the things that we do.
Mm-hmm. You gotta throw hachgwa in there at some point.
Of course.
Oh, right. Right, I like that one.
Hachgwa. Went too fast. Okay. Oh, yak kitlach. You will succeed or you will obtain it. Could also be you will defeat them. It depends how it's being used.
So let's see, which would it be in this case?
You'll obtain it.
Okay.
I think that seems like the best. Like you're gonna get it out of there, right? And then I guess we gotta have our negatives. Tesh yachwatlach. I didn't get it. Chet. Cow decay. I failed completely. Klech wasanech. I didn't heal them. Ah, failure vocabulary.
Yes.
Oh, Klech cow decay, then we gotta have that one. Not bad. Not too shabby. Oh. Wasayak putlak. How am I gonna get it? Almost.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
It literally means not far. And you could say yak kitlaqi. What are other phrases we could come up with for this? It's fun.
Do you have it? Do you have pinch it on? Pinch.
Oh, you're cutting out pretty bad.
Do you have pinch it on the sides?
Oh, for that with the ata. which would basically, I thought you couldn't do it. Okay, so pinch, the pinching verb. Pinch it.
Or it would be on the top and the bottom too, for certain objects.
There's going to be a thought in there for, I find that as a verb.
We need turn it on and turn it off. This game has a battery.
Oh.
It's always on though. There's no on and off button.
There's not.
No. It's just always kind of on, and it does need batteries, but there's no off. It's just always on until your tweezers hit the metal thing, and then it like lights up, but it doesn't.
The tweezers themselves are the switch.
Yeah, that's it. The tweezers is a switch. Right.
Right, I know the tweezers complete the circuit, but I thought there was an on and off for it too.
This one's just always on or off or whatever.
Since we're taking this to the advanced level, do we want sentences that use the verb operate?
Well, maybe even the term "it's always on."
Electricity. Well, there's two ways to operate. There is that nasné verb, but it means to flay off little pieces of skin. And then would do wakash, would mean to cut things. But nobody's cutting anything here, even though it does say operation. I think the achyeututsuné would be probably a more appropriate title for this, which would be somebody removed it. It was removed.
Do you think there's a better title instead of let's 8?
Yeah, because you're not cutting anything, even though it is called operation. Like,
yeah,
those verbs, there's two verbs that talk about operating on someone, and they both have to do with cutting. So if there's no cutting, then I think there's no operation.
Yadi, are you going to rename him? There's, asking what his name is. His name is that. I know it's Sam, but it doesn't need to stay Sam.
Is it Sam? Oh, I guess the cards say Sam. Yeah, it does say Sam. I didn't even think about that. I don't know.
Une, didn't you say that to introduce an English word, you would just add a D? Maybe that could be his name.
Say that again?
You said to introduce an English word that couldn't quite be translated, you would just add a D? Or am I mistaken that with another
Yeah, I don't remember that
term?
Maybe.
Okay.
Let's see, Cass. Here, we'll give him a long name. There. Kasiyéiyi atutuyeiti ka. What's his name translate to? Is there a key to go home? Kasiyéiyi atutuyeiti ka.
Strange things inside the man.
Yes, the man with strange things inside.
There's no like contractions or smushing that can be done for that.
Yeah, well, in the Raven books, that is something where like you have Kyukawujiki Shanako, and sometimes we're writing that as one word. The little elder who's not curious about anything. And then I think there's another one with the little elder that sat on the tide. And those names do get very long. What is that one? Peace kach shodutsunuko shanako. But I usually write that as 4 different words. But you could also, if you wanted to give him a real short name, he could be Kasiyéiyi at Tóowu. Or I guess, let's see. It's got to be Kasiyéiyi at Tóowu. That could be. If you want a shorter one. Strange things inside him. Them. Yeah, okay. That was fun. It was cheesh. It's nice. It was a nice break from, I guess, all this intensive grammar stuff. So now we play this game in Tlingit.
And then one last one on there is press my nose. So on the box, on the front of the box, it says press my nose, and I was gonna Photoshop it out to say press my nose. So would that be something like this? Achlu kachuch, or
To massage it.
this means to massage it?
Yeah, it's just say Achlut ishi.
Okay.
Touch my nose.
Okay.
Because yeah. Otherwise it'd be like a nice nose rub. You okay?
Well, I will make this available, and once I'm done, I can give it to you too, Kone, and like the file, with the cards to print it off, and people could just like cut it out and then paste it and glue it on or whatever on the actual cards, and you could share it on your site, and then I could share it with everybody here too, and we can make some operation cards, and we can get one for the language lab or something and
Yeah, sounds great.
play around with it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Let me grab the screen from you real quick. So I will drop it into the, I have a games folder. And so let me see, where is that? So in the Tlingit curriculum folder, there is a games folder. So there's different things in there, bingo, S'eek nagu, crazy cards. There is an Ishan board. I got to change the word for slide though, because that's for like a animal to slide. A person would slide differently, but the idea is you go from Yunchuka, you go from camp to home. I worked on this a decade ago with an elder. And so I can drop it in here. There's a handling verbs game. I don't know what directional bingo is. Scrabble. If you wanted to try Scrabble, I do think you would need to either draw 50 tiles, or you'd have to just figure out something with the vowels. What my recommendation would be is you draw consonants, and then like you have, like, let's say you drew some tiles, but then you'd have a whole set of vowels. So you could trade any vowel you have for any of the 4 variations. So you can go short, low, high, long, high. And you could trade any of the vowels so that you don't have to get just the right vowel. but instead you just say this is an A vowel, and then you trade it in for a long. But we tried it, and all we could do was 2-letter words. So it's, I don't know. It would be challenging. Okay, we gotta go. Okay.
Cheers.
Ganastíis.
Valentine's Day.
Cheers.
Okay.